guys, welcome back to It's Pretty Simple. This is a podcast where we break down fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle in a way that actually makes sense with no fluff, no quick fixes. We talk about what actually works when it comes to training and feeling good in your body. I bring on some really cool guests, so make sure if you're not subscribed to subscribe now. So if you're already subscribed to this podcast, you would have noticed that I have been putting my podcast out bi-weekly the past couple of weeks. And this is because I'm going through a transition of moving and it's been a little bit tough to get recording done, especially because I don't have the space at the moment, nor do I have the soundproofing or anything. So today we are going with AirPods. Again, I will be editing the sound in so it doesn't sound as bad. All right, so let's jump into today's podcast. We're going to be jumping into something quite practical and important as well. I think people tend to overcomplicate meal planning and cooking in general. So I want to dive into grocery shopping. So if you've ever found yourself wandering on the aisle saying you want to cook healthier and you need better ingredients, and then you just end up grabbing random things because you think that's what you want to make, and then you realize you have no idea what to cook when you actually get home, this episode is for you. I'm going to go over how I grocery shop and the most practical ways that you can do that to make sure that you're not getting bored of your meals and you're also getting the right ingredients to be able to pretty much put anything together when you want to eat. And I want to also say one thing, I'm not the biggest fan of cooking. And so whatever I cook is always going to be a maximum of 20 minutes prep and cook time. Okay, so let's dive into it. So grocery shopping does play a huge role in your nutrition. If you do it right, it makes eating well so much easier. If you're always thinking of what you're going to do, it's just going to make things harder. I never really used to cook for myself. I had people cooking for me in the past, and then I moved to Spain and I started cooking for myself. And in the beginning, it was really hard. I'd go to the supermarket without a plan and just buy whatever looked good and whatever I thought I would make from foods that I liked. So I just go and pick up random things and have all these ideas in my head of what I wanted to do. But that just ended in frustration, a lot of wasted food, and meals that didn't actually align with any of my goals. So over time, I figured out a way to make my grocery hauls a little bit more structured, but still flexible. This took me a little bit of time because I had to first understand what I was cooking more regularly. And that is a key point we're going to come to at some point of this episode. Today, I'll walk you through how to shop with purpose, what to prioritize, and what to avoid to make the whole process stress free. So let's get into it. So, step one, you want to start with a plan. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is grocery shopping without any kind of plan. You don't need to meal prep every single meal for the week, but having a few key meals in mind and knowing what you think you might cook is going to help. So, what I do is pick 2 to 3 meals that I know I want to make, and then I fill in the gaps with my staple ingredients that I can kind of mix and match. So, we always need the protein, we always need the carbs, we always need the veggies and the fiber. And so my staple ingredients are usually pantry things like your rice and bread and things like that. So, for example, if I know I want to make a stir fry, a pasta dish, and an egg based meal, then I already have a general idea of what I need. So, I need some lean protein for the pasta, I need a few carb sources, and a mix of veggies. This approach keeps things flexible, but it also ensures that I'm not just buying random things that just don't fit in together. Plus, it also reduces food waste. It saves a lot of money because I actually end up using what I buy. Step two, what to prioritize. Now that you have a rough plan, let's talk about what should actually be in your cart. The foundation of my grocery haul is always whole, nutrient dense foods, and these are foods that make up the majority of my meals that keep me feeling best. So when it comes to protein, I always look for lean meats. Chicken breast is like something I always get no matter what. I get fish. I like white fish because it's quite low in calories and because the fat's quite low and it's high in protein. Always get salmon, eggs, egg whites, Greek yogurt. For vegetarian, you have the option of tofu. I'm not a big fan, but I always get cottage cheese. I have so many tubs of cottage cheese in my fridge. So these are all great sources of high quality protein that you can use in a variety of meals. For carbs, I like to stick to whole grains. I get rice, oats, quinoa, and some starchy veg like potatoes and legumes. I like to swap between sweet potato and regular potato every now and a while, and then also with the legumes, I like to kind of play around with the different beans, depending on what I cook the most. So right now I'm going through like this Mexican phase, so I end up just getting pinto beans most of the time, but these give me energy and they help me feel full. And of course, your fats are also important. So I always grab things like avocados, which is a must for me in the morning. Few nuts for snacking. I don't really snack too much, so that's not too bad. And olive oil. I cook all my food in olive oils. My other fat sources are salmon and eggs. I like to keep my fats higher in the morning, and then the rest of the day, I don't really have that much fat. All these things help with satiety and just your overall health. And of course, fruits and veggies are a must. I have a few fruits which I enjoy, which makes it much easier to shop because I've had episodes where all my fruits have just gotten rotten because I got overly excited. So now I know what I like, and that's what I get. So whether it's fresh, frozen, or canned, everything has a place in my diet. It's not that I'm always having like fresh food, and sometimes frozen stuff is much easier to manage. In terms of vegetables, I usually keep bags of frozen vegetables in my freezer, so that's something that won't go bad that easily. And the quality is great, and you can put it into any dish that you create. They're just as nutritious as fresh ones. A simple rule I follow is shopping mostly around the perimeter of the store. That's where you find the fresh produce, the meat, and the dairy. Middle aisles are usually where most of the processed foods are, so I go there mainly for my staple items like getting canned beans or oats. Step three, what to avoid or limit. So now let's talk about what I try to limit or avoid when I shop. The biggest thing to be mindful for is ultra processed food. So these foods are designed to be addictive in the sense of, they usually are quite high in sugars, and therefore you end up having an insulin spike and then you go into a crash. I actually did an entire episode about sugar-free diets and things like that. So make sure you check that out to go into more details for that. But things like sugary drinks, packaged snacks, and anything that's overly processed, health foods, especially when they say it's a health food, they can be easily overconsumed without much nutritional benefit at all. I also stay away from products with super long ingredient lists full of things that I can't even pronounce, and anything that has any weird numbers as well. Try to stay away from it. It's not that I completely get these things out of my diet. Of course, there's certain things that I enjoy that I still have, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love my ice cream and I love my cookies. I'm not going to say make an egg to it. It's always on my grocery list as well. But I just mean that you need to be keeping those things at a minimum. So don't try to fill your entire cart out of that. The thing is that these things are usually cheaper as well, so you would think that financially it makes more sense, but the cost to your health is a lot more. Another thing that you need to be careful about is a lot of marketing gimmicks. Just because something says organic, low fat, or keto does not automatically mean it's a good choice. When I was staying near this new grocery store, I went downstairs to get cottage cheese. There was a regular cottage cheese, and then there was another cottage cheese, and it was beautifully designed, the other one, and it said high protein, blah, blah, blah. So I picked it up, obviously, and then I put it into my cart. But then I picked it up again and then I read it, and it had way less protein than the regular cottage cheese, and the fat was exactly the same. So the packaging, great, but the normal one was a better choice to make. A skill that's super helpful is being able to read labels and check actual ingredients. So the first five ingredients in any label are the most important. If the first five ingredients have any weird numbers or anything that you do not understand, put that back and continue on with your shopping. Because normally what they claim in the front of the package isn't always what the package is. They could be like a tiny amount of protein and they would just advertise it as something with protein in it. So be careful with that. So I'm going to walk you through the actual items I usually buy. So this is something I've been doing for the past 4 years. It has not changed. It's the exact same things that I buy all the time. It makes up 80 to 90% of what I eat, and it lets me build meals quickly without needing any complex recipes. My recipes are super simple. I like to play with spices. Spices exist for a reason, guys. So here's my typical grocery haul. Fruits and veggies, I do bananas. Berries, I do both fresh and frozen. Avocados, cherry tomatoes for salads, cucumbers, mixed salad greens, spinach, and baby spinach. So baby spinach, I like it in my salads and my shakes. Spinach just for my regular meals. I like asparagus, carrots, beetroot, corn. I get canned ones all the time, tomatoes, lemons, garlic, white onions, green peppers. So those are the classics that I like to use because I can make a lot of different meals with that. When it comes to protein, I do eggs. I get egg whites, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. These things are always in my fridge. Turkey slices, always in my fridge. I get chicken breast. Sometimes I buy some beef, um, canned chickpeas, and right now I'm on this thing of the black beans for Mexican food. In terms of carbs, we've got oats and rice, which is always stocked up in my pantry. It never runs out. Potatoes, I go between sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. Tortillas, since I'm on my Mexican phase. Burger buns. Bread, I usually get whole grain cereal bread, and rice cakes for snacks. When it comes to the healthy fats and condiments, I get olive oil, a few nuts and seeds, not too many because not really a big fan. I always have tahini because I like to make hummus. Pesto sauce, easy, quick to go with anything. Truffle sauce, I make so many things with that. And then we got canned and packaged goods. Tomato paste, always in my pantry. Tomato frito, always in my pantry. Cooking cream, I get the light one, also always in my pantry. I also love coconut milk. I use that for so many dishes. And red curry paste as well. I also get teriyaki sauce, soy sauce, and a burrito seasoning. And my pantry is filled with all the other spices like cumin, coriander, turmeric, red chili powder. I also have garam masala always because I am Indian, so I find it easy to cook Indian food. And then we come down to the days. Always get cheddar slices because I have burgers quite often, which I make at home. Like cream cheese for breakfast, 4 cheese blend, can use it in anything. So all these items can be turned into breakfast, lunches, and dinners throughout the week without actually needing a strict meal plan. With these on hand, I can throw together a wrap, a stir fry, a grain bowl, a smoothie, or even a pasta in just a few minutes. Obviously, your grocery list doesn't need to be just like mine, but those are my basics. And as you saw with the sauces and the condiments, like I do like Asian food a lot, and so I tend to use that quite a bit. And to be honest, those are some of the easiest meals to make, and you can make them super, super light and super, super healthy. Having a structured meal plan is an amazing tool, especially at the start of your nutrition journey. So knowing exactly what you're going to eat when helps for the beginning of your journey. It's going to help you understand what a balanced meal looks like and how to hit your protein and calorie targets. And it also gives you a rhythm for eating consistently. But over time, most of us tend to evolve past the strict meal plan phase, and you want to go into more of a, I want to eat things I enjoy phase, and I also want to be able to intuitively eat. So having that meal plan phase is super important. And then shifting onto this is actually a good thing once you've understood what to do with your meals. So once you've done it for a while, you'll start to notice patterns in your meals. You'll figure out which foods you actually like and which meals you enjoy coming back to. You'll also figure out which meals are quicker, which meals take longer. And normally you're going to take the meals that take longer out of your plan completely. You will start to feel more confident putting meals together without needing everything written out for you. And personally, like I followed so many recipes in the past, but I always end up just doing my own thing. And you know what? They turn out pretty great. So I've noticed that I've gravitated towards certain meals week by week, and I like making them because they're quick and they're also tasty. I might change up the seasoning once in a while, the carb source or the way that I cook it, but overall the structure of my meals pretty much stays similar. And because of that, my grocery list has become a reflection of those patterns. It's no longer just based on a meal plan, it's built around the meals I like to create and enjoy eating regularly. So you start to realize that you're okay with repeating certain things on a daily basis or every 2 days as well. And so it just gets easier when you're cooking your own meals. The one thing that I've learned from cooking is how to mix and match things to actually make it work. So I always grab things that I know that I can remix into different meals depending on my mood. And this is where getting creative with your spice rack, as I said earlier, comes in handy. You can take the same protein, the same carb, and the same veggie combo and completely change the flavor profile. So, for example, you have chicken, rice, and peppers. One day you put it into a burrito bowl with the burrito seasoning, and the next day you can put it into a curry with coconut milk and red curry paste. So it's the exact same ingredients, but two completely different meals. The key is to learn how to use spices and pairing ingredients differently. And that's what takes your grocery shopping from boring to fun. And honestly, in the beginning, it was always a hit and miss. And now that I've started to understand which ingredients go well together, it's taken my grocery shopping to very, very simple level. And cooking has become easy, quick, and actually a little bit fun sometimes. It gives you options without needing 100 ingredients because nobody wants to go shopping and buy 100 ingredients when you're following those recipes and they tell you like put half a tablespoon of baking powder. Sometimes you don't even need that stuff, right? So you just gotta create your own, understand what flavors you like, and just put them on repeat. And you can make your meals feel new with the spice cabinet. A lot of people think that it's really boring to follow a healthy meal plan, because you just have to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. But that's not true. If you even want to just eat chicken, rice, and broccoli, there's so many different ways that you can make it. And I think a lot of people are scared of this spice cabinet, but spices are not going to make you fat. Spices have no calories, it just has flavors, so it makes your meals more interesting. A few simple hacks have made grocery shopping way easier for me. First, never shop hungry. That is key. The amount of times that I've gone shopping hungry, the thing I always buy is a little bag of Kinder Bueno eggs. Like, I really, really like Kinder eggs, and that's the one thing I always buy when I'm shopping and I'm hungry. When you're hungry, everything looks good, and you're always going to gravitate towards the sugar, the chocolates, the ice cream. You're going to end up buying a lot of things also that you don't really need. Second, I stick to a list. I keep the same list all the time. I check my fridge before I leave, what's still there from the list and what's not. Whatever's not, I replace it. It keeps you focused and stops you from making impulse buys. Of course, that once in a while when your time of the month is starting to come and then you're craving something, that's a completely different case. But just in general, it stops you from impulse buying. Third, shop once or twice a week instead of constantly making small trips. So in the beginning, when I moved to my last place, the grocery shop was right downstairs, literally. So I decided that I'm not going to do big shops. I'm just going to think of what I want to eat, go down and buy the ingredients. Big mistake, because sometimes I would not feel like going downstairs and then I would not have anything in the fridge. Sometimes I would just think, oh, I want to make this whole fancy dish and then just go buy random things and then never actually end up using it. So having that list is going to make sure that you have the same ingredients in your fridge all the time and you can plan much better without feeling overwhelmed. Another great tip that I have for you is to prep some food right after shopping, even if it's something simple like just washing and chopping veggies or marinating some chicken. This makes cooking so much easier throughout the week. I'm not a big fan of meal prepping for the week. I don't need to because I work from home, but there are times where I make enough food that's going to last me 3 days for three separate meals rather than just for one meal. I don't do that very often, but there's certain things that I do that with, and it does make life easier when I'm busy and I have a lot of work to do, and lunchtime has come and I'm like, I can't cook. It's already in the fridge. Put it together. But of course, if you do go to a job, if you are somebody who's really busy, think about meal prepping for at least 3 days at a time. It's going to make your life so much easier. What you want to do is think of your cart like your plate. Whenever you're putting things in, you want to make sure you have enough protein, you've got some carbs, you've got plenty of veggies and healthy fats, and of course, fruits are always important. When your shopping cart looks like a well balanced meal, you are going to be off to a good start. Understanding how to grocery shop is a game changer when it comes to understanding your nutrition, especially if you are on a journey to try and lose weight, if you are on a journey to try and build muscle. When you stock the kitchen with foods that support your goals, eating well becomes effortless. I understand that this can sometimes be hard when you have kids, but you are going to be setting a good example for your kids when it comes to snacking and things like that. I remember when I was living back home, my mom really likes chocolate. She has chocolate in every corner of the house. I have a niece who is 6 years old, and because of her, there's chocolate and candy all over the house. And when I was living at home, and even now when I come back home, honestly, I find myself picking on chocolates and candy constantly because it's there. But when I'm at my place, I don't actually end up snacking on any chocolates or candy. I just don't keep them there. If I'm really craving it, I go downstairs and buy it because it's not accessible for me. And then I have to think about it before actually having it. So stocking your pantry with things that are not processed, things that are going to help you with your goals, super important. And also, when you go grocery shopping, think about what you are picking up. If you are new to your journey and you're just trying to figure out how to meal plan and how you're going to work around your nutrition, my first tip for you is go into your kitchen, go into your pantry, and check what you have. And then take out the things that you know are not going to be aligned with your goals. If there's other people living in the house that are not on the same goals as you, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you put it in a place that you don't have easy access to, but they do. Once you've taken the snacks out of the pantry and away from your vision, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to actually follow through with your nutrition to actually achieve the goals that you want to. So remember, you want to keep it simple, have a plan, prioritize full foods, Build around meals you actually enjoy, and don't stress about perfection and having something perfect and with so many ingredients. Keep it simple. The simpler it is, the easier it is for you to actually follow through with it. Next time you go shopping, try making a list, focusing mostly on whole foods first, and then you can add in little things that you enjoy. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys haven't hit subscribe already or follow, please make sure to do that. It's super, super helpful and also motivating for me to create more content for you guys. And I will catch you guys next week. Good luck with grocery shopping for the week. Let me know how it goes.